For over a decade, they were Hollywood's ultimate modern mythology, Brangelina, a global brand built on a captivating paradox. Raw cinematic stardom blended with humanitarian sainthood, all anchored by a beautiful, multicultural tapestry of 6 children. To the public, they represented the pinnacle of success, romance, and global citizenship. They were a golden couple who seemed completely untouchable, moving through the world with an effortless grace that captivated millions. But when the fairy tale collapsed on a private flight in September 2016, it didn't just trigger a standard celebrity divorce. It ignited a brutal, multi-year public relations and legal warfare that redefined the very boundaries of celebrity image-making. What followed was a bitter, public, and exhausting disintegration that turned former partners into fierce courtroom adversaries. At the absolute center of this storm stands Angelina Jolie. To her fiercely loyal supporters, she is the ultimate maternal fortress. They see her as a protective mother who sacrificed her own industry standing, her privacy, and her peace of mind to shield her 6 children from a toxic, volatile environment. To them, every legal filing and every public stance is an act of pure, unconditional maternal survival. But to her critics, and within the deep whisper networks of Hollywood, another narrative emerges. This counter-narrative paints Jolie as a master manipulator, a cold, calculating public relations tactician who has weaponized her children to systematically erase Brad Pitt from their lives. They see a calculated long game designed to alienate a father and entirely dominate the cultural narrative. So, who is the real Angelina Jolie? Is she a fiercely protective matriarch, or a calculated architect of reputation? To understand the high-stakes chess match of the present, we must first decode the blueprint of her fascinating past. Long before the 2016 split, Angelina Jolie understood the complex mechanics of public perception better than almost anyone else in the entertainment industry. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, she was Hollywood's untamed rebel. She wore vials of blood around her neck, spoke openly about her darkest impulses, and exuded a dangerous, unpredictable energy. Crucially, she didn't hire high-priced publicists to clean up her image. She managed her own press, speaking with a raw candor that completely fascinated the public. She learned early on that vulnerability, when controlled, can be an incredibly powerful shield. But when she adopted her first son, Maddox, in 2002, a profound shift occurred. Jolie successfully executed one of the greatest image pivots in pop culture history. Almost overnight, she transitioned from the dangerous Hollywood wild child to the compassionate global humanitarian. Her work with the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees gave her a new authority, grounding her fame in global purpose rather than tabloid scandal. When she and Brad Pitt came together in the storm of the infamous 2005 Mr. and Mrs. Smith scandal, the backlash could have easily destroyed both of their careers. Instead, they neutralized the highly damaging Homewrecker label by centering their relationship around global adoption, charity, and a rapidly expanding multicultural family. Jolie realized that in the court of public opinion, a devoted saintly mother is virtually bulletproof. For years, the couple operated as a seamless, untouchable corporate entity. But this history proves a vital point. Jolie is not a passive participant in the celebrity ecosystem. She is a highly strategic architect of her own narrative, and when her marriage fractured, those same strategic instincts were deployed not to build a family, but to defend one side of it. To understand the argument for Angelina Jolie as a purely protective mother, one must look closely at the gravity of what allegedly transpired on that private jet in 2016. According to heavily publicized FBI documents, An intoxicated Brad Pitt allegedly became physically and verbally abusive toward Jolie and at least one of their children during a flight from France to Los Angeles. For any mother, regardless of wealth or status, that is a moment of existential crisis. It is a moment where the illusion of safety vanishes entirely. Supporters argue that Jolie's subsequent actions were not driven by malice or vindictiveness, but by deep trauma and an absolute instinct to protect. When the traditional legal system failed to provide what she deemed adequate safety measures and accountability, she dug in her heels. Her refusal to back down on sole custody wasn't about spite. It was about ensuring her children were never put in a vulnerable, unprotected position again. Look at the Jolie Pitt children today. They do not live the typical, highly fractured lives of chaotic Hollywood offspring. They are not chasing cheap reality TV fame or stumbling out of nightclubs. Instead, they are multilingual, deeply involved in artistic and humanitarian efforts, and fiercely loyal to their mother. Whether it is Vivian working as a volunteer assistant on her mother's Broadway show, or Zahara joining a historic black sorority at Spelman College, Jolie is always there in the background, not hogging the spotlight, but standing back, glowing with maternal pride. If she were truly a toxic, manipulative force who ruled through fear and isolation, wouldn't the psychological cracks show in the children's adult lives? Instead, the world sees a unified front of young adults who seem to genuinely adore and respect the mother who shielded them from a deeply painful family fracture. To her defenders, her legacy is clear. She saved her children. However, there is a darker, deeply polarizing counter-narrative that cannot be ignored. To many legal observers, crisis management experts, and public relations professionals, Jolie's post-2016 strategy looks less like protection and more like a textbook execution of systematic parental alienation. In the state of California, family courts heavily favor co-parenting, operating under the belief that children thrive best when they have access to both parents. Yet, for nearly a decade, Jolie has fiercely fought every single custody arrangement that gave Brad Pitt significant, unsupervised time with the children. In 2021, Judge John Outerkirk granted Pitt joint custody after hearing months of extensive testimony, including evaluations from child psychologists and domestic violence experts. Rather than accepting the ruling, Jolie immediately fought to disqualify the judge on a technicality, successfully overturning the ruling and stripping Pitt of his hard-won custody rights. To critics, this wasn't protection. It was an abuse of legal resources to achieve total victory. Then came the systematic, public erasure of the paternal identity. One by one, as the children have reached adulthood, they have publicly dropped Pitt from their names. Maddox, Pax, and Zahara have all operated under the name Jolie in their professional and social lives. Shiloh, upon turning 18, took the extraordinary step of hiring her own lawyer and taking out a legal notice in the newspaper to formally and permanently drop her father's name. Critics ask a chilling question. Is this truly the organic, unprompted choice of 6 independent children, or is it the devastating result of a decade of subtle, continuous psychological conditioning? Parental alienation rarely looks like screaming matches. It looks like the slow, steady drip of a singular narrative, painting one parent as the enemy until the children internalize it as their own truth. Furthermore, the public leaking of the highly detailed FBI report years after the initial incident raised serious questions about intent. The leak occurred precisely when Brad Pitt was winning major awards, rebuilding his career, and regaining immense public favor for his role in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. In the hyper-calculated, high-stakes world of celebrity public relations, timing is never an accident. To her detractors, Jolie's ultimate strategy is clear. If she cannot legally banish Pitt from the world, she will socially, professionally, and emotionally bankrupt his relationship with his children, ensuring his legacy is forever tarnished and his punishments are eternal. The true tragedy of the Brangelina collapse is that the public is forced to view a deeply painful, intensely private family trauma through the distorted, weaponized lens of public relations. We are asked to pick a side, to declare a winner and a loser in a war where everyone has already lost. Is Angelina Jolie a protective mother? Yes. It is entirely possible and highly likely that she genuinely and deeply believes her actions are the only thing keeping her children safe from a cycle of pain, alcohol abuse, and volatile behavior. Her love for her children is undeniably the central axis of her universe. Is she a master manipulator? Also, yes, she possesses the immense intelligence, the endless financial resources, and the sophisticated media savvy required to wage a flawless, long-term global campaign to control the narrative and protect her kingdom. She knows exactly how the media machinery works, and she knows how to play it like a grandmaster. In the end, these two identities do not have to exclude one another. Human beings are incredibly complex, deeply traumatized, fiercely protective, and profoundly flawed. A mother can be desperately trying to protect her children while simultaneously utilizing highly aggressive, manipulative tactics against their father. The two realities can exist at the exact same time. As the legal battles drag on over vineyards and custody, the true victims of this endless war were never the fans, the public, or the corporate brands. It was 6 children caught between 2 Hollywood titans who forgot how to love each other but never forgot how to fight.